that they really attack is the cognitive thinking of the disease. That's one of the things that is attacked as soon as you enter the NACASA services, is to get the recovering woman or man to get into cognitive thinking. And that's a thinking behavior, because the disease has us thinking that we need to be dependent and codependent on this drug or of something that isn't, you know, to keep allowing us to become civilized people in the community.
Yeah, because I do know somebody that, you know, she takes a friend, somebody, several people that I know take sleeping medication like, you know, Ambien, and they go to sleep every night with this, and now they think that they can't fall asleep without it. And it's almost like getting addicted to something, because when you can't, when you feel you no longer can control it, that I can't fall asleep unless I take an Ambien, that means, isn't that an addiction itself?
It's a physical addiction. It's physiological, it's psychological. That's why we have to have so many different types of support, because there is truly physical addiction that people have to deal with those physical urges that come with addiction. And it's behavioral, because the way you change it is through a person's behaviors.
Also, you know, I think you mentioned that you participated in campaigns that you made radio announcements for our state and local political parties. What was that all about? What is that?
That was me. I went on our local radio station and did some political plugs for Mike Waller, and he's our assistant state's attorneys of Lake County. And I did that because Mike Waller was intricate in starting the Lake County Drug Court program.
Drug court program.
Drug court program, yes.
Yeah, you know, I never even knew that we had a drug court program. My husband's an attorney. I don't think I'm not even sure he knows about the drug court program. And it's something, we have something in Lake County, and how come nobody knows about it?
Well, I think it's becoming more and more well known. It just was started, I believe, in 2005. So it's a rather new program. However, it's grown. They're up to 36, 40 maybe clients now. When I started, I was the 6th client in drug court.
What is a drug? What is drug court?
Drug court.
What is that different than you go to a regular court? What is drug court?
It's therapeutic intensive monitoring. They call it TIM court. This is when they take on clients who are repeat offenders, drug and alcohol issues. It has to be present, drug and alcohol issue, and repeated arrests, repeated treatments, and they take them in and pretty much monitor their entire life, who they hang out with, where they're going to work, drug urine screens constantly. They have to check into probation all the time. There's surveillance officers watching their every move, and it's a 2.5-year program. So it's a long therapeutic. They provide resources, all kinds of resources, everything from substance abuse providers to mental health providers to job skills.
That's good. But how do you, I mean, if you're summoned to another court, to a regular court, and you have a drug addiction, how can you be, is there a way to get transferred into that particular facility?
You have to be interviewed by the drug court coordinator, I do believe, and also Joy Gosman and Suzanne Willett, which are the Lake County State's Attorney and Lake County Public Defenders, all make a decision on if you meet the criteria of to be a drug court client.
And how do they get paid? I mean, is that also part of that budget thing that, you know, if they're starting to cut the budgets?
I would say so. I would say that they would be affected by funding as well. And I can tell you how it's affected them is that a few years back, in 2005, 2006, they readily sent a lot of their clients right through Gateway. And Gateway Foundation had closed their facility down for quite some time. So they didn't have that resource to send them to. They had to use Haymarket, which was farther. So drug court has been affected by the budget cuts. Yes, it's always a trickle-down effect. When a budget cut occurs, it trickles down and it affects everybody in its path.
Well, what do you do to, how as us, you know, citizens or Lake County residents, or even Cook County, I don't know, maybe they have their own, I don't know if they have a drug court in Cook County, I'm not even sure about.
Yes,
They do. Okay, so at Lake County, how do we keep it going? Is there any way that we could, get the message out? How do we do this so we can keep
We go to
it
Springfield and rally. We go down to Springfield
So
and
you're
we
the
talk.
ladies
We go and talk to our state reps.
Yes.
Educate them.
Yes, and tell them, you guys know us. You know that these treatment providers is one of the reasons why we're staying here clean today. So we get the word out.
And are they supportive? I think you mentioned you
Yes.
had. Have you found them supportive of the program?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because that's very important. I mean, because drugs have taken over so many people's lives, and it's wrecked a lot of families as well. Because when you take somebody with you, you take a person with you on drugs, you take the whole family with you as well. Because I remember reading a poem by one of your members, and I was looking to see where it is. I guess I left it in my briefcase. However, I was very just about the poem, how her daughter wanted her to play with her, to be with her, and she would say, well, next time I'll be there, another time, I'll be there another time. And
You're speaking about Sharon Epps, who was the NICASA first graduate.
She's the first graduate from NICASA, and
Women's
the
Services.
poem is Addict by Proxy.
Yes.
Right, Addict by Proxy. It was very, very warm,
Very moving.
and
Yes, it
very
is.
moving, and it was about how it affected her child, and it's almost like the Cat in the Cradle song. Remember the Cat in the Cradle and the Silver Moon, and about a father. He travels. Next time,
We'll do it next
We'll do
time.
it next time, son.
Right.
And this has affected. Has it affected your families? I mean, you guys were the three. You're. Tricia is the president, but you're not part of. You didn't have any addiction, but you got into this. How did you get into this without an addiction? How did you end up with NICASA?
I came through social services training, actually, but I am a child of an alcoholic.
Okay.
And so it's hard work for me too. And I think a lot of people that are in the treatment field come through it from different doors.
Yeah, you don't have
because
personally.
it affects
You don't
so
have to,
many things.
so you don't personally have to. That you had a problem, but you were personally affected by your father.
And see, I was a family, my family never had any type of drug addiction problems. I was the one with the problem. So it really comes from different angles. But the fact that we do have NICASA services in the Lake County Drug Court, the women's residential services, things like that, to educate families that don't know anything about drug addiction is the benefit of being someone in recovery.
By talking to you and being with you today, I can't imagine that you ever had a drug problem. You seem so together. You're very confident. You're very. You're so easy to talk to. How did this happen to such a wonderful person as yourself?
It's the support, Suzanne, that we get from all those different notes that you have right there. Speaking from NICASA, Women's Residential Services, the Lake County Probation Department.
But how were you personally affected? How did you end up this way? I know how you ended up
The transformation?
This way. Yeah, before. How did you get into
it's
this?
It's kind of like it was kind of like a bad marriage, not knowing. I went from having a bad marriage and not being able to cope with those type of things because I never knew that, that things like that happen. And I just was unaware. I didn't have any awareness on how to keep on going because I was a codependent woman to men. And not knowing was the way that I went. The first thing I dealt with was a man that sold drugs. And that was my way of dealing with.
You got in on somebody that you trusted.
Yes.
And he said, this will be good for
yes.
you. And this would
Yes,
be,
it was definitely a
yeah.
trusting. It was definitely a trusting.
See, and that brings me to ask you, both of you, and any of you, when you get drugs, and I mean, when you don't get drugs, to me, if you go to Walgreens or CVS or a drugstore, you get, you get prescription drugs. But how do you trust somebody off the street? I mean, say you're getting crack or you're getting cocaine. I mean, in fact, I was thinking about it. Remember, I even mentioned, what if they laced it with rat poison or something? I mean, you don't know.